with more Hazbin Hotel redesigns, this time with Vaggie and Abel. Now, I know what you're all thinking. You already redesigned Vaggie 3 times. And yeah, I did, but that was when I was sure that she was still a sinner and that Viv didn't succumb to the whim of fan theories, but here we are! Vaggie is officially an angel, and I'd like to take another crack at it, though the designs probably won't be all that different. That's right, designs. So get ready for that. And Abel is here because, well, I didn't want to leave him out, and I really doubt we'll know anything super concrete about him going forward, as he seems to be a Peter replacement. But anyway, their designs. Since I've gone in depth about Vaggie and her Zootopia days, I'm just going to talk about the show and how she's now an angel, which in my defense, the poster art did not hint to it, and it took me a bit to realize that in heaven, everyone has different outline colors, and since Vaggie and Angel Dust were the only ones with colored outlines, I just assumed it was a hue thing or a style thing, but yeah. And while Carmilla says it's obvious, because of the X over her eye and the fact she wields an angelic spear, which no, as Cherry has an X for a pupil and Alistair has one on his forehead, and you, Miss Carmilla, are covered in X's, and also wield angelic weapons. And even sell angelic weapons, so no, it's not obvious. However though, I guess you could argue that the hair should have tipped me off, but again, she was hinted at being a moth for years, plus the hair does not give bird wings to me, it gives moth wing. Now, as for her angel design, it is fine. I mean, I already talked about the uniform being a weird mismatch of fabric and colors, but the reveal of Vaggie having short hair was nice, as she now has long hair to show the passage of time. However, I kinda wish she didn't have the emo bangs just yet, as I always assumed she styled it that way to cover her eye. Also, thanks to the new season, we learned Vaggie's eyes were not pink and light yellow, but regular white with gold like all the other girls, which just kind of adds to the whole Adam made the girls. I'm also starting to think Lute was a Lilith replacement. Don't ask why, it's just the vibe. Anyway, I can't say too much other than what I already said in Lute's redesign video about the uniform, and as for Vaggie's demonish form, again, I'm kind of confused on how the change works, since technically Vaggie didn't fall. Lucifer did, however, so his form is more hellish, but Vaggie is still the same, but with a different eye color and a floating X, which I kind of wonder if Vaggie learned about the X is a scar thing in hell, or just did it to fit in, or it was just a weird subconscious thing. But yeah, her design doesn't really give off demon. It is slightly uncanny due to the color palette, but I don't know, I feel like they could have pushed it a little bit more. Anyway, yeah, other than her outline and hair, nothing really screamed fallen angel or demon to me, and her new uniform still hasn't grown on me. All I see is the Japanese version of the McDonald's uniform, but I do like the ponytail in season 2, and I am a bit biased because I also gave her one in my original redesign. Anyway, hands down, just wish she looked more like an angel, but not so much that it's odd, but just enough that we can see something's up, but still demon enough to be maybe she's not an angel, you know what I mean? A nice weird blend. As for Abel's design, I actually quite like it due to the connection it has to one of Patrick's outfits from one of his music videos back in the day, though I do wish they pushed the yellow a bit more, but I do still like it. I do also kind of wish it was a bit different from Adam's original robes, but I know it is different, but it still looks a little too close to Adam for me. But at least with this design, you can tell that there's separation of the top and skirt, and while I appreciate the bottom design mimicking Adam's design, but also making it slightly different, it doesn't work as well as it could. Honestly, if it was curved, I think it would be okay. There's something about this really sharp design thing that's going on that's really throwing me off. Oh, also love that the collar is a decent length, and thanks to the epaulets, he has shoulders. Though again with the sleeves not matching the rest of the outfit. I know it's probably to avoid overlapping, but it just makes it look like it's not connected to the outfit, almost like he's wearing long sleeves under the top. Also, I'm very curious about the gloves. It's probably meant to be a connection to the helmet, but he doesn't really wear it that much. And then again, at the same time, I didn't understand it for Adam either. The glove situation will always be a huge enigma to me within this show. Anyway, I love the marching band hat and the halo placement and how it's messed up as a hint to how he died. Perfect. Chef's kiss. That whole little area is perfect. His face is cute and friendly, just like the character, though the blonde hair, I'm a bit iffy with. As for me, the blonde for Abel would be a nod to him being the golden child, but seeing as how he's Adam and Eve's son, who I've always assumed that Eve had brown hair due to coming from Adam, but since we haven't seen her, it's still up in the air. So The blonde hair is like a 50-50 thing with me. Overall though, Abel's design is fine. I just wanted to include him and test some stuff out. But yeah, let's just start with Vaggie. Okay, for Vaggie's angel design, I went with the same idea that the girls were made for Adam, not by him. But he got more of a say in how they looked and requested more human-looking girls, hence why Vaggie has a nose and Lute doesn't. Anyway, the rest of her body is still the same, though I gave her actual feet, which you'll see later, since they want to give Vaggie nubs and then feet when it's convenient. I also redid her eyelashes to be more feather-like, since even though Adam wanted more human-looking angels, they still have bird-like elements in them, hence her hair also being feathers. I also gave her a pixie cut, mainly because I wanted Vaggie and Lute's hair to be different from each other, but also to really show the passage of time for her hair, and because I'm a sucker for a pixie cut. I also did keep a small hint to the emo bangs. She'll grow out. Also, like all the other angels, her feather hair goes to the base of her nose, and this is not like for every single angel, this is just like a standard. Also her eye color is similar to Lute's, as that is something that cannot fully be made to look human, as eyes are windows to the soul. And to me, angels don't particularly have souls. I've always envisioned them as like these overly ethereal beings that can't really comprehend us, because we are humans. Our soul is something that makes us different from angels and demons, so yeah. Plus, white is often seen as a pure color and is often connected to heaven and light, but the added blue scala is also just to let you know Vaggie is not a human. Also, her outline color is the exact same color as Lute's, as again, this is more of a uniform thing for every single exterminator angel, so yeah. Now, her uniform. Since I didn't want to put her in the exact same uniform as Lute, since Lute is technically higher ranked, I put her in what would be the basic outfit for the exterminators that's more Adam inspired. She's still given chest armor, but with a star design on the chest instead of Adam's A, and smaller epaulets styled shoulder armor, and instead of a jumpsuit, it's now more of a jump dress with a slit on the side. The sleeves are still short for more mobility reasons, since a lot of the angels like to wear the bell sleeves. And the slit that's on Lute's original sleeves got moved to the skirt to make them match but also be different. The sash belt is also a part of the uniform, as it's the standard to hold their weapons. And again, the star motif and just pendants in general are a connection to where the angels are located, and because they've always been associated with like high up in the clouds, heavens, galaxy type thing. And the armor for Vaggie's arms and legs are the exact same as Lute's and is made from angelic steel. However, though, instead of gold being used as an accent color, I decided to do a more muted blue silver to keep up with the whole showing that Lute is a higher rank than the other girls and just the overall separation between Lute and the other girls. And now color. So I used the same color palette as Lute to show there is no real individuality for lower ranked angels, but also since Adam wanted more human looking angels, Vaggie and the other girls have actual skin tones, which again is another nod to the separation between the girls and Lute. I know I'm talking about Lute a lot, but Lute and Vaggie are like basically intertwined in a sense, and I really wanted to showcase that Lute is so off compared to the others. She's so othered, which is why I feel that this would make her the way that she is. Like, the rest of the girls know that there's something different about her, and they just don't trust it. But yeah, I gave Vaggie an actual skin tone, which I just used her original color and just made it brown, but the rest of the colors are the same whites and muted blues and grays to give off that they're not quite unique, but also to show off how much lower they are in the hierarchy, but still give off that angelic vibe. But hands down, even though this design is similar to Lute's, I still think it's pretty cute and show how rank works between the Exorcist's girls. Now for her demon form. Okay, not really demon form since she's not a demon, but also not a fallen angel, but she does need to blend in and show something happens when your wings are ripped off and spend years in hell with no sunlight or access to heaven's light does something to an angel. So for her transformation, so to speak, her hair started to darken similar to Lucifer, though because she didn't officially fall, the underside is lighter. Her longer hair is now shaped to look like folded feathered wings, and her bang, a full wing shape. Also, her hands have started to darken and becoming more claw-like, also similar to Lucifer, but she currently hides them with gloves. Everything else, body-wise, is still the same. She now just appears as kind of like a raven-based sinner with a weirdly lucky streak of still looking human, though if she lived in hell as long as Lucifer, that wouldn't be the case. Anyway, her outfit is still the same one I gave her in the animation-friendly design video, but since she's not a moth anymore, I took away the fur collar and went back to a simple button-up undershirt, though I did decide to make a few changes to the outfit. Instead of a 2-button jacket, I went with 4 as a nod to the old bellhop uniforms. I also made her short sleeves into half sleeves and gave her simple full-fingered lady gloves. The cut of her jacket is still the same, as the bottom part is longer and more skirt-like, since while it's cool to see her kick ass in a skirt, it's still crazy that she's even able to move like that at all in a pencil skirt. Because let me just say, those skirts are a pain to move in, but instead of giving her black shorts like I did before, I went with bellhop styled shorts to go with her jacket and make it feel more like a uniform, since most hotel uniforms are all one color or part of the same color family. But I did keep her thigh highs, and since she no longer has bug legs, I decided to give her laced up ballet flats. Now, color. So Vaggie's demonic colors are roughly the same as my redesigns, but just a splash less dusty now that she's no longer a moth, but it's still slightly muted since her original colors were white and muted blues. But if she stays longer in hell, the colors will get more vibrant. But I turned her white hair into a more purple gray that I also used for the lapel, gloves, and smaller details of the jacket, and her shorts and thigh highs. Her under hair is a more lighter muted purple gray color. That's kind of her 3-point colors, since her scala is also that color, and her ribbon bow tie. And the white that she once had is now a pastel blueberry lavender color that I used for the X on her eye patch and her undershirt and jacket buttons, mainly as a way to keep your attention to her face, but also to help connect the dots that she was always an angel, as her eyes haven't actually changed all that much. And her uniform is still a muted wine color to fit with her color palette, but still fit with the hotel's red uniforms. Oh, also her bow is now more wing inspired as a callback to her original info being a moth. Also, if any of y'all remember me often saying that Pride's color is purple, then this is gonna be fun. However though, while Vaggie didn't sin or fall, I do like to think she has a healthy version of pride within her. Sure, she is self-hating for being a part of the issue, but now she's showing signs of healthy pride that can be shared with others, inspiring them to take the lead, and seems to have more pride in her work and accomplishments. But this is hell, so the colors are manifesting in the only way they know how. Also, fun little side note, also for Vaggie's lore, I would probably establish that Vaggie is very untrusting to the point of avoidance. She obviously trusts Charlie because they're in love, but even that feels untrustworthy, as Vaggie and the other exorcists were trained to never trust demons and that they will do and say anything to get the upper hand. Also, I would have it to where Vaggie has a hard time keeping up the lie that she's a sinner and doesn't know much about Earth or humans, and would often say something kind of off when the other sinners talk about their lives. Also, Vaggie is still stuck in military time and does her training exercises around the hotel. I would also have it to where Vaggie hides in hell for about a year before meeting Charlie, so that her colors have a chance to change and give Vaggie a reason to still distrust sinners and pick up info that Charlie has no idea about due to never really living in Pentagram City, which is why she knows so much about Alistair and the Overlords, whereas Charlie, knows nothing. I would also, and I'm not sure how, good this would be, but I would have it to where Vaggie would be really aware of Carmilla, to the point that she looks up to her and bought her spear from Carmilla and often trains with her in secret. And I would also have it to where Vaggie knows that angelic weapons can harm angels, and have it to where Carmilla learns this from accidentally nicking her during their training sessions, and then have Vaggie feel betrayed when she learns about the angel's death from Charlie, and she and Carmilla have somewhat of a falling out. But since war is coming and Charlie needs weapons, she goes back to her and says that she owes her for using information she shouldn't have, but also starting this war with that information, and also not telling her she thought they were friends. And that's about all I've got for how I would retextualize Vaggie's whole thing within the universe. But But that's about all I got for these designs. Hands down, pretty pleased with them. Now on to everyone's favorite boy, or my favorite boy, Abel! Yay! Okay, Abel's redesign. So since Abel is tied to actual biblical lore, air quote, aka the Cain and Abel story, I figured I'd use some of the lore we know about him in this design, but also a sprinkling of Patrick too, since it's clear the show took inspiration from him as well. So similar to my Adam redesign, I pretty much left the body alone, though he is slightly skinnier than Adam, but more plump everywhere due to thousands of years of sugar. So Abel is what my mom likes to call pleasantly plump, and Adam has like beer gut. Anyway, the rest of him is still the same, though I did make his hair more curly, mainly to give off sheep vibes as he's described to have kept flocks. I also gave him freckles and tan skin, mainly to keep him looking similar to Redesign Adam, and to show that Abel, and maybe even Cain if we see him, did work in the sun a lot back then. Also, since Abel is one of the first kids made between Adam and Eve, I figured he wouldn't have the dirt-like patterns like his parents, as he is basically the second actual flesh and blood human, and seeing as a lot of text says Adam and Eve lived to like 900, I imagine death didn't come naturally to them like Abel and Cain. In a sense, since Cain was cursed with immortality, but anyway, other than that, I kept his face the same since I find it very cute, and his tooth gap too, though I did round his nose a bit. Oh, I also untucked his wings. Seeing as Abel was the first human in heaven, I don't think he would have tucked his wings to mimic his father, mainly due to spending roughly 900 years with the angels, and they don't really tuck their wings. Or at least Emily doesn't, so I imagine that like Abel copies Emily a little bit more. Plus, also kind of like Emily, Abel probably flies way more than his father, or the average winner. Plus, I personally think it helps show their separations, personality-wise. Anyway, though, his outfit. I also did make him slightly younger looking, and that's mainly due to him not having a wife when he died. Now, hear me out on that really quick. Him not having a wife isn't why he died, but like back then in olden times, and while yeah, there weren't many people, but seeing as how Cain was the older brother, and when told to leave after killing Abel, he was able to find a wife later on. So it kind of implies that the boys were young when all of this happened. And it would kind of make some sense to why Cain freaked out. I mean, God said he sensed evil in him, but Cain was like the oldest and probably going through the first puberty ever, and God probably not knowing what that is since he grows fully formed humans is just like, this man is evil. And then poor Abel gets whacked from a hormonal brother. Okay, now his outfit. So it's pretty obvious that his outfit is meant to look like a marching band uniform, which before we knew who his voice actor was, I was just massively confused on the design, cause why would Heaven need a marching band leader when they're more choir focused? Plus, like, what did marching band have to do with Abel's lore at all? But now, seeing as it's Patrick who voices him, it all makes sense, and that the outfit is a nod to one of his music videos, and while it doesn't make sense character-wise, I do kind of enjoy a nice nod to the voice actor. So I decided to keep the marching band jacket, but go a little harder with it by giving him the traditional plastron, or in basic terms, a button panel that covers the zipper or stitching of the inner jacket. Anyway, I made the top part of the jacket longer and more tailcoat-like, mainly to match the silhouette of a marching band jacket, and slightly connect him to Adam's robes. I flipped the collar down just for some variety, even though the bow tie hides it, and I know you're all probably shocked I included a bow tie, and while it's not the norm for marching band uniforms, Patrick did wear one with his, so I figured why not. As for his sleeves, they're the exact same, though the sleeves are the same color as the jacket and the cuffs are now blue. I did keep the rope details, but made the buttons stars. The epaulets stayed as well, since it makes sense for his new position, and is pretty common for marching band uniforms. Now, originally I was going to give him pants, but decided to stick with the skirt style, as I wanted to keep with the whole Abel still has some nostalgia for his life as a sheep herder, and also because it's the fashion he's most used to and most comfortable with. I also made the hem similar to the sleeves of his jacket, and it weirdly just hit me that Abel's sleeves not only don't match color-wise, they also don't match cut-wise, as his sleeves are the only non-sharp cut on his entire outfit. So the bottom of the skirt now officially matches the sleeves. Anyway, I did decide to give him shoes, though I kinda wanted to make him barefoot like Adam too, but I'm too lazy to draw toes. But they're just simple slip-ons with the same star and rope design he has on his sleeves and chest. Now for his hat, which funny enough is a type of top hat just with no brim, but I actually really love the design of it, so I didn't change much other than the A on the top of it. And like, I get his name starts with an A like Adam's, but I don't think Abel would be the type to brand himself that hard like his father did, so I made it into a star to go with his outfit. And now while the gloves don't make much sense to me in the original design due to the color and the connection they have to the helmets, but the gloves in general do, since they are a part of the marching band uniforms, so I decided to keep them but made them pastel yellow gloves. And since Adam's item was a guitar, I thought Abel's could be his shepherd's crook, plus it adds to his marching band look since the front runner holds a baton. Now color. So for the color I used pretty much the same colors, but brightened up the yellows a bit more, made his robes a more white yellow. Only real new color is the blue, which, like, don't get me wrong, the pink is really cute, but there's so many blonde characters with pink accents. Plus, to me, the blue is a fun way to show Adam's colors, since technically Adam's robes have a muted purple color, and his first set of sons are in a sense the story of good and evil, so it would make for a really good color theory moment to separate Adam's colors and give them to his kids. Abel gets blue and Cain gets red. Also, blue is considered a depressive color, and technically Abel is in mourning, but it's heaven, so it can't be too sad looking. Also, I know I said I wasn't sure about the blonde hair, but with the whole Abel being the golden child, I figure it could still work. Though I did go back and make his hair more golden orange than golden yellow, which, and I know Lilith in the show is blonde, but biblically she's a redhead. And I kind of like the idea of the reason Adam doesn't like Abel is due to how close his hair looks to Lilith's. You know, just some fun color theory here. Anyway, that is all I've got. Sorry, my mind's all over the place with Thanksgiving right around the corner, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with all three designs. Abel's colors are like a small 50-50 with me, because I want his skin color and hair to complement each other while sticking to more brighter heaven-based colors, and it's becoming a bit of a challenge, and I like a good challenge occasionally. But anyway, next video will be the season finale of Hazbin Hotel. So get ready for that, as I have a feeling it's going to be a cliffhanger season, since I don't imagine the fight against heaven will be wrapped up in 2 episodes. I say with my fingers crossed behind my back, but seeing as how Viv likes to say that the show is probably going to be 4 to 5 seasons long, so maybe, yeah, so look forward to that. We don't have any members to scream at today, but we do have 4'10" coming in clutch with their super thanks on my Emily and Sarah redesign video. Y'all should watch that, by the way. I hear it's really good. On to the sleepy wall you go. Also, thank you to the other members. You have my whole heart. Everyone else, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on my socials right here, and if possible, hit that join button or super to join the Board of Teeth. It really helps out the channel and me. I hope you all have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!